Welcome to another edition of I Guess We're Doing Ceramics 1 from Home Now. I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that are going to make working at home a little easier. There are certain things that we take for granted in the studio, like having slip, and so we're going to go over how to make your own perfect slip from home. The first step is that we're going to chip off some clay. And we're going to press that clay into a biscuit. Now the thinner you can get that biscuit, the better, because then it's going to dry faster because of the more surface area, and it's going to dissolve faster for the same reason. Once you have a handful of pieces of clay chipped, go ahead and set those outside, especially if it's a nice sunny day like today, and then that will make it dry a lot faster. Making sure the clay is all the way bone dry is really important because otherwise it will not dissolve evenly. If you put plastic or wet clay into water, it just sort of gets slimy and it doesn't dissolve all the way. So what you're looking for is a really bone dry chip of clay, and you'll know it's bone dry because you'll be able to break it easily with your fingers. Now it's time to grab any kind of container, and warm water is going to dissolve that clay that much faster. I'm using a clear container so that you can see the clay dissolve and see how quickly that process happens. You can see the erosion taking place where the clay is starting to slough off and dissolve into the bottom of the glass. Now it's time to pour off the excess water. I'm going to go ahead and transfer this into a container that's easier to access, so it's a little bit flatter. And I'll probably leave the lid off of this container for at least a day so that the excess water can evaporate off the top, and that way it will sort of be a chocolate pudding consistency, which is what I was looking for. Next, let's talk about rolling out a slab, but first we need to cut off an even piece of clay. So instead of tearing it off with my fingers, I'd like to cut it off. But I don't have a wire tool. I do have dental floss, which it's like a wire tool but minty fresh. Next, I'm going to grab a piece of newspaper so that the clay doesn't get stuck to my table. Now, I do want to press the clay down flat onto the table, but if I strike it really hard from above like this, then it's going to be kind of like a cow patty. Like when a cow patty hits the ground, it'll be thinner on the outside and thick on the middle. So instead, I want to make sure I hammer it out evenly, and I want to make sure I take it at an angle. So it's going to be like landing an airplane, and the smoother the angle, the more even my slab is going to be. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope those tips are going to make it easier for you to finish your work.